Hello again, everybody. Hopefully your first week at 337 has gone well. We're thinking about the second week, and I'm going to run over a few things that we may be looking at doing this week coming. First, hopefully everybody got a chance to dig around and look at some of the tools that we've been talking about, your blog, Mattermost. Looks like lots of people have already joined, which is great. One of those things that is important that from last week is underneath our password protected social spaces. Password is in your email. It's important to fill out the survey. So the reason that this is important for a few things. One is that's where I'm going to get your blog information, your name of your blog, the URL, so I can find you. The other one is so that you can have a good idea of what some of the tools we're looking at and giving me permissions to share some things on our blog. So that survey is right here under the Learning Pathways link, and it should open up. It takes less than 5 minutes to do, so I know a lot of you have already done that, but those of you that have not had a chance to do that, please have a look at the SurveyMonkey and fill in some of your information. And it's fine, whatever the answers are, just as long as they're in there, and then I can move on and add your information onto the blog if that's what you so chose, as well as know where your blog is so I can find it to look at. So we're taking a look at how we learn, and there's a few things right off the beginning that are going to be potentially new to people, and there's a lot of theory, honestly, this week. It's a time to really get some of the basis down for the course, and that means looking at some theory. So this theory is not a theory course, of course, but these theories color what we do. It's really a mixture course where we've got lots of ideas about learning and multimedia, as well as we've got the practical examples of how we're going to use and build those and learning to use those tools. So this week, like most week, are going to be a mixture of both. This one, however, does have quite a bit of theory, and at first glance, it looks like there's a lot to learn and memorize, but remember, these are just helping you to build the tools. And when you're thinking about your assessment, how you're being graded, it's what those theories are being used within the tools. So it's not a situation where you sit here and have to memorize each of the learning theories, each of the design theories, each of the constructivist theories or behavioral theories. Instead, use them as a background. In a sense, understand what they are in a base level, but then use them, right? And that's what we're doing in this course. We're really using what we learn about. Neuromyths are things that we may have been mistaken about of how people learn, so it's good to get a sense of those as well. Some of the things that we think are common but may not be as supported by science. And then our discussion of PowerPoint and presentations. And this fits perfectly with using the theory that we are learning above about learning theories, talking about presentations. We've all been there and had presentations that were good, bad, or otherwise, and we now are learning about how to make those effective in our multimedia presentations and in our multimedia learning and teaching. So that's what we're doing in the hands-on learning this week. Last week we did hands-on, and it was about Mattermost and interacted there. As I say, many people have done that. This week is looking at something we're all familiar with, and that's presentations. Applying what we're learning in theory to presentations, and this is something that you can choose. Some people will use Google presentations. Most people will mostly choose PowerPoint, but Prezi is another option. All three of those are sort of in the in the medium to beginner level. People that want to try something new and look at new tools, there's a way to do animated presentations, or Lunacy is another one that's sort of got a lot more depth to it. And WordPress itself has a native presentation platform in it as well. Again, these are all optional. The presentation is something that you need to do, but learning these new tools to do it is optional for those people that are wanting to do and look at a few more. I encourage you to look at them, but at the same time, you can stick with PowerPoint, but use those new tools and ideas that we've learned from the theory above. It's also the first week of doing the full blog post that is going to be reflective of this class. been some questions about what those blog posts are supposed to entail. At the bottom of each week, I'll give you some prompts, but they're optional. They're just ideas. The truth is, the blog is really supposed to get you thinking and get you using different theories and then reflecting on whether they're important to you or in the past how you may or may not have experienced them. But ultimately, it's really what's useful to you, and the blog is really just that. It's almost like a journal, a reflection of yourself in the course. Obviously, it needs to be specific to educational technology and multimedia learning and those type of things, but at the same time, you don't have to stick to these prompts. You can work in other things that you're doing with the course or speak to the course specifically. It's also the first week that we're doing a comment on someone in your blog, in your pod. So you should have already signed up for your pods. Your pods should be meeting at least once a week for the amount of time it takes really to just do a brief discussion about how everybody's doing with elements of the course and talk about the blog posts and put your comments in. If you want to meet more than that, that's fine. If you want to talk about different things, that's also fine. It's really a place to connect, and the pods are a place to do reflections on other people's work as well to get some more insight. So there's a list of a few readings this week as well. They are embedded within the post, but also sort of summarized here. And looking just a bit more at your blog, potentially adding some other themes and widgets, potentially. And the hands-on learning activity, it can be presented in your blog post. It doesn't necessarily have to be, but it is something that it's a natural fit. If you've gone through the trouble of making a PowerPoint presentation or a Prezi, it's a good way to you might as well post it in there. And then, of course, at the bottom, we've got all the bibliography of what the works I've worked on. So this week is also, we're meeting, if you're interested in, it's my office hours / meeting time where I have the Zoom room open. I'll open it up on Monday morning on Victoria time, and I'll be on there for answering questions or just talking to people about different elements of the course. If that's that Zoom information will be on the social spaces page as well as your syllabus as well. Okay, so the Mattermost channel has been busy with different people meeting on there as well, so that's been great uptake with that, and it's the fastest place, truthfully, to get a hold of me. All right, best of luck on week 2.